What's up, everybody, and welcome back to my channel where reality television experts and connoisseurs gather together on a weekly basis to sit back and talk about their favorite shows and reality stars after a long day, whether that's a long day of work or a long day period. And speaking of long days, let me tell you, I'm sorry that this is late, but this has just been a really bad month so far, and I feel like it's only going to get worse as the time progresses, but I will try my very best to be more prompt with these videos. So anyway, let's jump into a recap of what happened on the premiere of the latest season of Teen Mom OG, where now we're introduced to two new stars, Cheyenne and Bristol. The episode starts off with Taylor telling Maci that Ryan threatened to shoot up their house over a tweet that he had sent out about Ryan being an adult man-child, and Maci suggests that they call the cops and file a police report so that all of this is at least on record if anything were to happen. And then after that, we're introduced to Bristol Palin, who now lives in Austin, Texas with her husband, who's an Army vet suffering from PTSD. Together they have two kids, and in the next scene, Bristol is at her sister Willow's bachelorette with her mom, Sarah Palin. I really cannot believe she is actually going to be showing up in these episodes. It's crazy to think that she was once a vice presidential nominee. Bristol lets us know that she is finishing up her maternity leave from her job at a real estate firm, which I didn't even know that she had. I thought she was just doing, you know, the celibacy talks, Dancing with the Stars, other reality shows that she tried doing before as well. I didn't know she was working in real estate, and I guess good for her if true. And she talks about how she joined the show because the stories that the other girls had been telling for about 10 years now had been resonating with her, and she hopes that her own story resonates with people as well. Bristol, the word you're looking for is resonate, honey. Meanwhile, in Michigan, Kate is still in rehab in Arizona while Tyler's at home taking care of Nova and their farm of animals. He seems extremely overwhelmed and goes out for lunch with his mom, who also points it out, and he tells his mom over lunch that Kate isn't coming home for another 6 weeks and that he feels like he is being sucked dry, you know, having to support someone like Kate, and the fact that everything, all the attention is always on Kate when he has his very own struggles as well. We get our first pretty disturbing scene in Amber. Amber Portwood has been absent pretty much her daughter's like entire life, okay? If not 75%, maybe I'm exaggerating. So she acknowledges that when we are reintroduced to her. She goes, you know, like, I've missed so much of my daughter Leah's life, but I'm so glad that everybody's gonna get to see me be a mom with my new son, James. Not even, I'm so glad I'm in a better place so that I could be there for the rest of her life. It's like, you know what, that sucked, but let's wrap up this art piece that we just drew and throw it away in the trash and start on a new one. His name's James, and I swear I could prove to a bunch of strangers that I could be a good mom to this one. You know, if you really wanna impress strangers, Amber, you should probably focus your attention as well on making up for the lost time with your daughter and being a mother to her, like for the first time in her life. Anyway, she has the baby, and Gary brings Leah over to visit before we're then introduced to Cheyenne. Cheyenne is a little bit of a thoughty poppins, you guys. So she tells us the timeline of, you know, her daughter Ryder's birth. So she says that she had been hooking up with Cory on the reunion special of a show called The Challenge while she was still in a relationship, and the two of them got pregnant. People like this disgust the hell out of me. You are in a whole ass relationship and you're out here raw dogging strangers, bringing God knows what to your innocent partner who hasn't been trifling with you. But anyway, so since they were never in a relationship and like she was banging them both at the same time, raw dogging them both, spreading whatever she might have around, she didn't know who the father of her child was, and so they did a paternity test and discovered that Ryder was Cory's daughter. And then if that wasn't enough, for some reason, her daughter now, you guys, is like 6 months old, and for some reason, Cheyenne already has a boyfriend that is living with her. There's a new baby and her sister as well. Like, where did this boyfriend come into play, and why is he already living with your child who cannot speak and who is a girl? Like, the lack of concern for children, you know, among the people in this franchise is so disturbing. There is no reason for some strange man that you've only known for a couple of months while you are bumping uglies with two other men is living in a home with you and your innocent young baby who cannot even speak. Like, these people are so ridiculous. It's insane. Anyway, lucky for Cheyenne, Cory is happy to be a father. He was talking with his friend in another scene about how ecstatic he was to find out that he was the father of Ryder. Now, Jen and Larry come strolling back into our lives while they go golfing and talk about the order of protection that Ryan has to go to court for against Maci. They worry about how this might impact their ability to see Bentley, and they honestly seem so sad that this is the way that their one and only child turned out. I know that if I had only one kid and this is the way it turned out, I would be pretty damn devastated myself. Back in Austin, Texas, we get to hear a little bit more about the PTSD that Bristol's husband has been suffering from ever since he returned from deployment. We learn about the PTSD, anxiety, depression, everything, and it is really gut-wrenching to hear. In fact, his father tells us that for a really long time when he returned, he would go to sleep with a pistol on his chest because he just could not separate, being there from being back at home. Like, it was just so much. It was really hard to hear, especially when you realize that he deployed when he was just 17 years old. I really can't believe that children that young are allowed to go to war when they can't even drink in their own country. It's ridiculous to me. Okay, you guys, things get really wild in Catelynn's world when Tyler takes Nova to go see Catelynn's therapy horse. Remember, it's the horse that she hardly ever visits after claiming that it would be the ultimate cure for her. So they go to see the horse, and the horse looks miserable and a little bit matted, like it's not taken care of. And Nova, who is so emotionally intelligent, points out that she believes that the horse is sad because mommy's not there and hasn't been around for quite a while. How ironic that the therapy horse is now depressed, right? And so Tyler agrees, and back home over dinner, Nova tells Tyler that she too misses her mommy. And so Catelynn FaceTimes the two of them. Tyler takes the opportunity to tell Kate that her horse seems depressed, and Kate thinks that the solution to that is to get another horse for her to neglect. So that way she'll have two depressed therapy horses instead of just one. So now it'll be just a little bit less depressed. And it's just so crazy to think that this is a legitimate thought process for her. And it's almost like, oh, your own child might be suffering from her own version of emotional issues because of your absence. Is that why you're pregnant again, even though you clearly are not in the right space to be? Is that the thought process that goes behind kids and animals for you? Tyler was absolutely not having it, and I don't blame him one bit. I would have been fed up as well, especially considering the fact that Kate tells him that while she's away in rehab, away from their daughter for the third time, she hadn't really been attending classes. She's like, I didn't go to my class. I just took a nap instead. And then later she keeps trying to connect with him. And again, he's just shut down after hearing that. She goes, oh, well, I guess I'm going to go watch a movie. Taking naps and watching movies are things you could have done in Michigan. You know what I mean? So oh my God, I could see why he exploded. And at the end, she had to get off the phone to go watch her movie. And her daughter, Nova, is like, Mommy, please don't leave me. And she just looked devastated as she did the first time or second time that Kate left. And that was the end of that. But it's okay, Nova. Another baby will fix you right up. Just like two horses will fix up the first one. Now let's swing on over to Cory and Cheyenne. The two of them meet up to discuss co-parenting. Guys, how the hell is Cheyenne a stay-at-home mom off of $250 a month in child support? Make that make sense. Cory complains that the new boyfriend sees Ryder more than him because he lives with Cheyenne, and I think that is very justifiable feeling to have, and but at the same time, that's what happens when you go around raw dogging strangers you're not in a relationship with. She's gonna have majority custody of the baby, and the new person that she is in a stable relationship with is consequently gonna see your child more often. So avoid all of this by wrapping it up. Have you ever sat around and wondered, how did Bristol Palin get married? Well, lucky for you, she gives the rundown in the next scene. She lets us know that she got married by picking out a ring at a jewelry shop and being greeted by an officiant at the golf course without exchanging any vows or taking any photos to cement the occasion. And then they add this really awkward face voiceover to the scene. I don't know if you guys noticed, but it was so contrived about how her husband's PTSD has been affecting their marriage. And it seems like they're setting us up for a divorce storyline, which we know eventually does come. So back to Tyler and Catelynn, the drama of the episode. His mom, Kim, comes over to the house with a few more family members, and he tells the family that Kate hasn't been going to therapy class, that she opted to nap instead, and then he makes a dig about her watching movies. He says that he bit his his tongue, and that, you know what, like it's no different from when Kate is at home. He's like, Kate at home is always sitting around watching movies in a friggin' robe, like not doing anything. And the mom's like, does that like feel depressing for you? He's like, no, it's not depressing, it's repulsive. Whoo, go off. Tyler, tell us how you really feel. I, completely agree with him. Like, that is hard to watch. Someone who doesn't seem to want to help themselves. Like, and this has been going on for years now, and they've got a child. Like, you really do have to take that into account, that they've got a child together that doesn't deserve this at all. And then he mentions how he wants to go seek therapy because he is all out of empathy for Kate. And I don't know that he needs to go to therapy for that. It's a normal reaction that anybody, especially a parent, would have about their spouse. Like, you really want what's best for your child, and it's hard to watch someone not help themselves, especially when they leave this child to go and do things that they could have done at home. Like, you can nap and watch movies at home. According to Tyler, it's what you've been doing anyway. And there are local resources that she could have sought as well. With all of the money that she has, MTV, according to Dr. Drew, is a tremendous resource of free mental health services as well. Like, she really did not have to leave Nova for this. Cheyenne's mom, by the way, you guys, drives a Jaguar. What's going on over there? Maybe that's why she's able to be a stay-at-home mom without a discernible career. So Cheyenne takes the baby and Cheyenne to a baby play school where Cory meets them with flowers for Ryder. Absolutely adorable. Cheyenne's boyfriend is upset that he wasn't invited to the event, which is understandable, but it's also understandable that Cheyenne didn't invite him too. Ryder is still super young, and their relationship is even younger, so that is way too damn soon. Now in Austin, Texas, Bristol and Dakota take the kids to soccer, and on the way back, he tells her that his anxiety has been acting up like crazy, and she asks like, oh, like what's wrong? And he's like, I've been asking you for help with the same problem forever. Stop acting like you don't know what's going on. Stop pretending you're surprised for the cameras. I'm sick of it. I really did feel heartbroken for him in this moment because you can see the pain and struggle in his eyes. He is clearly, very, very clearly suffering. Like, it's all over his face. And Bristol says that she has a hard time feeling empathy for him when he acts like that, which also is quite understanding. Like, she feels attacked, and that's a very valid feeling. Guys, Maci is so dull. I don't know why she threatens to leave the show, because the show can very well go on without her. Like, her friend comes over and she talks about how the restraining order or whatever, protection order, was granted, and that she's glad it still allows Ryan to be a father while also protecting her from having to contact him. It's just the way she speaks is so dull. I could care less about her scenes. Tyler, meanwhile, actually goes to see a therapist, thank God, for his own stuff. Like, he really needs attention on his own issues because he does have mental health problems of his own to battle, and he's not getting the support from his wife, so it's important that he does seek therapy. He says that he always can't help but sigh when he speaks to Kate on the phone, and that he suspects it's built up resentment about how she just up and went to rehab for the third time without considering her family or talking to him about it. It was just what Kate wants, she gets. When she wants to go to rehab and leave everybody, she can up and do that because we'll just manage. When she wants to buy a horse, even though she's not gonna take care of it, she'll go ahead and do that. Now she wants 2 horses. When she wants a pig, only to return it a week later because she's not gonna take care of it, she'll do that. And now they've got goats and chickens and all this other stuff that is being neglected. He says that he is sick of always being a caretaker. He's emotionally exhausted, and he questions whether or not he could stay with her because he does not feel happy in the marriage. In fact, he has not been happy for years. Years, you guys, years. Tyler, my question to you on this is, why do you keep staying? I understand, like, you guys share a child, but it sounds like you've been unhappy since even before that. And, the fact that you guys tried for another child in the midst of all of this, and now you're pregnant again, like, you have to take some sort of accountability for your role in this perpetuating. Now, Leah and Gary's family go and visit James at home, and Amber starts kicking herself, wondering why she couldn't have been a good mother for Leah. media / why she couldn't have been sober. And then she says that the only reason that she's in this good space right now is because of Andrew, who at this point she only knew for a couple of months. It's downright embarrassing and shameful that this woman could sit up here on television and say that a man that she's known, who's still virtually a stranger, she's only known for a couple of months, can be the reason that she turns her life around, and not her child, who absolutely depends on her, has always depended on her, and still depends on her. I'm disgusted by this woman through and through. Guys, I'm gonna really surprise myself and say it here, but I quite like Bristol. She seems a little like vacant in the head when she speaks, but so far she seems like a gentle soul, so I'm gonna give her a chance here. She complains about we're in her kitchen now, and she complains about her husband's anxiety, and he's upset that she won't support him through it. He admits that he has said some really mean things to her, and it was nice that he admitted that, because I never really would have guessed it. Like, he came off like a really sympathetic character to me, like, all this time. So I'm surprised that he'd been saying like nasty things. I think Bristol claimed that he alluded to her not being a good mom, which is like a total below the belt kind of insult. So it's great that he did own up to it, because it's not fair. As much as this guy loves his family, especially his kids, I don't think that he's in the mental headspace to be a husband or a father. I do wish that he would have got more treatment for his PTSD, his anxiety, his depression, like all of the things he's going through, before overwhelming himself by building a family, especially so quickly. I think they were married 2 years and have 2 kids. That's a lot for someone who's still struggling with PTSD and was sleeping with guns because they were so terrified not too long ago. It wasn't the smartest decision on either of their parts. Dakota reveals that apparently Bristol had called his PTSD a joke and said that she fantasized about him killing himself, which is crazy scary if true. Like, yikes, you don't go there. That's like a Janelle level dirty thing to say to someone who's suffering after having served their country. And she claims that he's lying and that she never said that. She said that she worried that he would kill himself, which is a valid concern. I, just watching this guy and seeing all the pain all over his face, had been worrying about the same thing too. I feel like he looks like someone who might, you know, eventually go down that route, because they're just suffering so friggin' much. Like, God forbid that happens, but it's a valid thought for her to have, especially as a mother. Anyway, you guys, the episode does wrap up there. I do have to say, the addition of Cheyenne and Bristol really helped me to see how stale everyone else had gotten. Like, we've been watching these people for like a decade and nothing really changes. Kate is still in the same place we left her. Tyler's still in the same place we left him, although Tyler did bring it this episode. Maci was a snooze fest as usual. Amber, same nothingness going on there as well. So it's amazing to have 2 new storylines to really revitalize Teen Mom OG, but I know some of you guys might feel otherwise. So make sure to leave all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below on what happened on the premiere episode of this episode of Teen Mom OG. And as usual, we'll chat. You can also like this video, subscribe for more. Feel free to share it with your friends as well, and follow me across social media, where I absolutely love chatting with you. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.